master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. She's detached from all things. That is why she is one of them, one with them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It's content with the low places that people disdain. Thus it is like the Tao.
There was a caller just
in dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you're content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. Fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, it would be blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. So that was 5.
Let's go to Hakima. Hakima, you want to start with number 9? I think we're on.
Number
right?
10. Number 10.
Number 10. Okay. Go for it. Hakima.
We're reading the Tao Te Ching right now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you coax your man from its wandering? And can you keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Vital matters by letting events take their course. Step back from your own man and thus understand all things. Giving birth and nourishment, having without possession, acting with no expectation, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. We join spoke together in the wheel, but it's the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it's the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it's in the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, not being is what we use. Colors blind the eye, sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, thoughts weaken the mind, desire wither the heart. The master observed the world, but trusts his inner vision. He allows things to come and go. His heart is open as the sky. Success is dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself. Have faith in the things. Have faith in the way things are. Love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things. There you go.
All right. Let's next reader.
Okay, you know Mojo to skip me because I'm about to walk into the grocery store.
That's fine. You're not up. It's Kristen. Kristen, go ahead.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me open it up. Let me keep it. I had to reopen it.
Okay. We oftentimes have to reopen things in the muff, but go ahead, continue.
Wow. We're at 14, right? Okay.
16.
I think we're at 14.
Yeah, 14. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Look and it can be seen. Listen and it can be heard. Reach and it can be grasped. Above, it isn't bright. Below, it isn't dark. Seamless, unnameable, it returns to the realm of nothing. Form, that includes all forms. Image without an image. Subtle, beyond all conception. Approach it and there is no beginning. Follow it and there is no end. You can't know it, but you can be it, at ease in your own life. Just realize where you come from. This is the essence of wisdom. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was unfathomable. There is no way to describe it. All we can describe is their appearance. They were careful as someone crossing an iced-over stream, alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, fluid as melting ice, shapeable as a block of wood, receptive as a valley, clear as a glass of water. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Do you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment, not seeking, not expecting. She is present and can welcome all things. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you came from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. Are we doing 4?
I thought we were doing 5, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, 4. When the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. Next best is a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst is one who is despised. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When his work is done, the people say, "Amazing, we did it all by ourselves."
Okay, I think that's me now, right?
Yes, it's all you, Nye.
18, okay. So I'm sorry, is it Tao or Dao? Are we pronouncing it Dao with a D? Does it matter? Okay.
I'm gonna go Tao, but it does have a T. Go ahead.
Okay, number 18. When the great Tao is forgotten, goodness and piety appear. When the body's intelligence declines, cleverness and knowledge step forth. When there is no peace in the family, what is that? Hooked on finance. What is the word? Piety begins. When the country falls into chaos, patriotism is born. Number 20. Hold on. My page reloaded. Okay. Stop thinking and end your problem. What difference between yes and no? What difference between success and failure? Must you value what others value? Avoid what others avoid? How ridiculous. Other people are excited as though they were at a parade. I alone don't care. I alone am expressionless, like an infant before it can smile. Other people, slowly, other people have what they need. I alone possess nothing. I alone drift about, like someone without a home. I am like an idiot. My mind is so empty. Other people are bright. I alone am dark. Other people are sharp. I alone am dull. Other people have a purpose. I alone don't know. I drift like a wave on the ocean. I blow as aimless as the wind. I am different from ordinary people. I drink from the great mother's breath. The master keeps her mind always at one with the Tao. That is what gives her radiance. The Tao is ungraspable. How can her great mind be at one with it? Because she doesn't cling to ideas. The Tao is dark and unfathomable. How can it make her radiant? Because she lets it. Since before time and space were, the Tao is. It is beyond is and is not. How do I know this is true? I look inside myself and see. Is that it? Do I have one more? I'll read one more. If you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. The master, by residing in the Tao, sets an example for all beings because he doesn't display himself. People can see his light. Because he has nothing to prove, people can trust his word. Because he doesn't know who he is, people recognize themselves in him. Because he has no goal in mind, everything he does succeeds. When the ancient masters said, if you want to be given everything, give everything up, they weren't using empty phrases. Only in being lived by the Tao can you be truly yourself. I think I'm done.
Okay, I guess that means I'm up. Express yourself completely, then keep quiet. Be like the forces of nature. When it blows, there is only wind. When it rains, there is only rain. When the clouds pass, the sun shines through. If you open up yourself to the Tao, you are at one with the Tao, and you can embody it completely. If you open yourself to insight, you are at one with insight, and you can use it completely. If you open yourself to loss, you are at one with loss, and you can accept it completely. Open yourself to the Tao, then trust your natural responses, and everything will fall into place. He who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He who defines himself can't know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to his work will create nothing that endures. If you want to accord with the Tao, just do your job, then let go. And then I'm going to read one more. Is that right? There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, and infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For the lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. It flows through all things, inside and outside, and returns to the origin of all things. The Tao is great. The universe is great. Earth is great. Man is great. There are four great powers. Man follows the earth. Earth follows the universe. The universe follows the Tao. The Tao follows only itself. Is that it?
Okay, what number did you leave off on?
I finished 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute. I was going to go ahead. I'm sorry. I had muted myself. Let me get back into it. Not bad. What are we on, 25? Is that right, or 26?
I finished 25.
You finished 25. Okay, so we will go into 26. We will go through 4 more, and then we'll just we'll take a break. The heavy is the root of the light. The unmoved is the source of all movement. Thus the master travels all day without leaving home. However splendid the views, she stays serenely in herself. Why should the lord of the country flit about like a fool? If you let yourself be blown to and fro, you lose the touch with your root. If you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has been freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? What if you don't understand this? You will get lost, however intelligent you are. This is the great great secret. Know the male, yet keep to the female. Receive the world in your arms. If you receive the world, the Tao will never leave. You will be like a little child. Know the white, yet keep to the black. I like that. Be a pattern for the world. If you are a pattern for the world, the Tao will be strong inside you, and there will be nothing you can't do. Know the personal, yet keep to the impersonal. Accept the world as it is. If you accept the world, the Tao will be luminous inside you, and you will return to your primal self. The world is formed from the void, like utensils from a block of wood. The master knows the utensils, yet keeps to the block. Thus she can use all things. This will be the final one. Do you want to improve the world? I don't think it can be done. The world is sacred. It can't be improved. If you tamper with it, you'll ruin it. If you treat it like an object, you'll lose it. There is a time for being ahead, a time for being behind, a time for being in motion, a time for being at rest, a time for being vigorous, a time for being exhausted, a time for being safe, a time for being in danger. The master sees as they are without trying to control them. She lets them go on their way and resides at the center of the circle. We'll go ahead and stop there. Unless Scarlett wants to read. Scarlett, do you want to read? We do have 10 minutes before we start the next room.
Appreciate the offer, but I'd kind of like to digest and maybe talk about what you heard, what we heard and read. I wanted to get the quote right in the chat. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? And then the second one is, what is a bad man but a good man's job?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
PDF link is above in the room. I wanted to ask Mojo. Can we this is your house. I would just offer a suggestion. Can you maybe mod everybody who has read today? I think that's called positive feedback reinforcement, something like that. Okay, Scarlett, go ahead. Sorry about that.
So I get that a good man is an example for a bad man. I'm wondering how much work does a good man put in for the job of a bad man?
It's like there's this book called Tanya, and man and women have both a positive and a negative, or a good and an evil inclination. And, there is this gray zone or shadow that you have to pass through to get back to the paradise or to the good zone. So without, as I'll quote someone from this app, without my lived experience, I don't think taking a course on morals and ethics is gonna, it's gonna help you with your experience. But what I'm trying to say is, sometimes you don't know if you're the good man or the bad man, but it's just the pairing of opposites. The Tao Te Ching deals with opposites. So it's a contemplation, a meditation. So again, this is like called reading a book. And I think that when you run these scripts and you have the conversations, the purpose should be enlightenment or going within self-reflection, self-analysis, and asking yourself, how can I be a better man or a good man?
Does anyone else want to answer the question? What's our moral responsibility where does our responsibility to guide and shepherd bad people, especially since they're disinclined to be guided and shepherded? And then what is our responsibility to our innocent fellow man or men in protecting them, or do we protect them at all? Because if they're exposed to evil, then they're more likely to be able to defend themselves by themselves from evil.
What I took from this was that it would be wrong to try to control them, and it would be pointless to try to control them, and that the teacher is your own positive actions. If you're worried about yourself, maybe you'll be an influence over people, but trying to control them, I think, is the mistake.
Oh, no, good point. I'm not interested in controlling anyone. I'm interested in the value of mitigating harm, and I don't have an answer. But thank you.
Well, if you're a good man and you're dealing with bad men and you believe education is the solution to curing a bad man, well, then you have to become the teacher or the master to the bad man who is. So this app, in a way, allows you to try to like live out game theory to a certain extent. And so if
Did you know we did a room on game theory? Were you there?
I think so. But what I'm saying is the communication component in the game theory to me is extremely important. Now, if you study mythology or mysticism, Hermes or Mercury is, the god that represents communication. So I think talking about communication in a technical way is very helpful. That's all I'm saying.
Akima, what did you get from it? Was there anything that stood out as something that you're in strong agreement with, or something that you would question? Anything that stood out that you want to mention?
No, not really. Maybe if I read through it again, I probably would grab it. I was doing a couple things right back to read. I was car washing a couple things. I probably have to read it again.
I think my favorite line, I have a couple, but the one that really stands out: express yourself completely, then keep quiet. Be like the forces of nature. When it blows, there is only wind. When it rains, there's only rain. When the clouds pass, the sun shines through. Beautiful.
What is all this reference to the she, though? Why does the Tao have to be feminine?
Because it's a book of opposites. So if God the Father is the universe, it inverts it into a woman. So there's a bar here in Chicago where I got jumped at by the first time in my life by a young African American man. He slugged me in the face and they robbed me. And let me tell you what is on the inside of that bar where I was watching a live music band. There is a black woman on the wall in an erotic astronaut outfit, and it says, "She is God."
I'm gonna have to meditate on that one.
What's the name of that bar, John?
They had to shut it down. It's renamed now. But, Alan Watts says there's a story about these astronauts who come back from outer space, and the media says, what did you see out there? They said, we saw God. And they said, well, what did he look like? And the astronaut responded, she's black. So, to me, that's one way. If you have anger management issues with black women in the marketplace, it's one way to essentially de-escalate the whole thing, So it's an esoteric way, I think, to manage your anger.
Sorry, projecting again. Sorry, Moses.
We have 4 minutes left before we have to go open this other room and beat the other guy to starting his room. But when should we do the next reading? Do you guys want to do it tomorrow? Do you want to space these apart? I think we got about a third of the way through, so we could probably get this done in 2 more readings. Are you guys up for doing it tomorrow? You want to wait till Wednesday? When do you want to do this?
One day. Do different books. Like hour a day if you feel like that. You got time to go home.
All right. Well, then let's tomorrow and Wednesday get through this book, and then we'll start a new book. And I think it was proposed that we would do Art of War next.
Can I do a housekeeping note?
Sure, go for it.
Now, in the beginning, you mentioned watermelon being beneficial, and I doubted it, but I did some research, and you're right. These seeds have zinc, which are good for a lot of things.
Does that make sense?
The
Like,
actual
I think it does
black
make
is in the
sense,
flesh,
actually,
so
to
it's a
esoterically
good
viewing
preventative
black women as
for
goddesses.
people who are already healthy. I didn't realize that.
See, I do read a lot about the health benefits of fruits and vegetables.
Might be why I crave it. I don't know.
Is everybody prepared to go to the other room? Should I post a link up top? So
That would be very helpful.
okay, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves while I go.
I could do it if you like.
Oh, perfect. Go for it. That's even better. Thank you.
I want to thank all the speakers. Oh, go ahead, David.
You go.
I wanted to thank all the speakers. You like made my dream come true today. Like I'm, in the kitchen having, some fruit cleaning up. I'm listening to people reading the Tao Te Ching. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I can't believe this is on automation now. So you are all, you are all the Tao. That's one thing to remember is when you read the Tao, you become the Tao.
But if you are the Tao, then doesn't that mean you aren't the Tao?
Well, I think it's like a script. It's essentially when you read, in the Buddhist perspective is that you create the universe, with your thoughts. So if you're reading the Tao and you're really focusing and you're thinking about what you're reading, it's a little bit like dancing or, jumping on these words, these letters, and like it's the whole thing is this is an exercise in a way to try to enhance your gigahertz to a certain extent. Wisdom education, wisdom scripts is that enlightenment type of spark where I think it's just a way to like dope up your brain, and help you achieve more in the real world. But I think a lot of this stuff deals with anger management, peace, harmony, balance, joy, strength, flexibility. You could, 100 of those super positive words. So this is forced positive neurolinguistic programming. And unfortunately, this app is a toxic cesspool of profanity vulgar slingers who are gaslight, bigots or gaslight addicts. So to read a document like this, I think, reflects all on all of you personally as being the Tao. Congratulations.
Alrighty, and that brings us neatly and nicely to our next room. I can hold down the fort because if someone wants to open. And
I will go open that, and thanks everyone. We'll see you over there.
I'm going to return some phone calls real quick because I always miss them when I'm at Clubhouse, and it's my only disappointment when customers call me and they can't reach me.
Also, I want to say that a lot of people watch this YouTube live stream, and I hope that they too know that they are the beautiful Tao.
Well, I hope we earned some cool points, John. I know you were always calling us clown house and saying everyone's not intelligent and stupid and waste a lot of time on the app. So I hope we earned some cool points with you today, sir.
Yeah, I felt great, I really enjoyed it. But, I think the bigger question is, did you enjoy reading the material? How did the material make you feel when you read it?
I loved it. I posted in the chat, thanks for recommending this title. I might actually finish reading it on my own before we meet again. But I don't know, that is tomorrow, so maybe not. But I probably will read ahead. Because it was, I really enjoy the messaging behind this. It resonated with the spirit.
And it is something you absorb more, I think, the more you read it again. I had my doubts and I liked it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, every time you read it, you discover something new. It's that kind of a book. Because there's a lot in there. It's a large language model system, I think, in a way.
I could see how you would absorb more also reading the written word yourself.
Yeah. I have read this book. I've picked it up probably 100 to 500 times and read it, and I've recorded it into the internet. the more you do it, the more you become programmed by it, and it's a very intelligent program.
You were gonna say?
Oh, no, I didn't know you.
Oh, I thought you did. All right. This is going to be a fun room, I think. I think that we got ourselves a good topic. Similar topic to what a lot of people on this app are talking to. I think it's similar to the topic that Gary's going to talk about in the Critical Thinking Forum with no chat. So imagine that. We get to have a conversation on the stage, keep the chat open, and we're not requiring anybody to go to Facebook to be able to communicate with each other in a written form. So I think that we have all the advantages, all the bells and whistles, everything that we need in order to have a good, stimulating conversation. Welcome to the room, everyone.
Hey, Roger, I do want to say this about the last room. That was the longest I ever spoke on Clubhouse without being interrupted. It felt kind of good.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe if we all embrace the Tao, there'll be less racism, and you won't have to be such a victim.
Akiva, that's so cool. I interrupted you for the first time in the history of Clubhouse, Akiva. I love it.
Let's see. I gotta ping a few more people in here. We've got 6 more minutes. You guys want to shoot the breeze? Go ahead. Say whatever you'd like to say. Oh, look at 2 T's is in the building. Scarlet 2 T's. Voice of an angel. I'm glad that she's punctual. It's good. Maybe a geosite site, huh? Maybe. Jarl, you're welcome to come up here. Even though you're Canadian, we'll probably want to hear what you have to think about the National Guard bringing order to D.C. I need to figure out where Anson's at. He can't really do this room without Anson. Not properly, anyways. Anson led the slave revolt to exit the Critical Thinking Forum. He is the... there he is. That's my guy. All right. Hey, welcome, Christy. You've made it. You're on time. We've got about 5 minutes before we get started. We really like to get in here early. I also wanted to point out that this house is growing very, very fast. There's over 600 members of this house, and this is the second time we've done a room. So everyone pat themselves on the back. I'm going to go ahead and mod up my friend Anson. Again, we'll just kind of shoot the breeze, keep it casual, and for the next 5 minutes. Christy, you might want to stick around for a bit, because you know how the chat's not open over there? It'll allow someone like yourself to more fully participate in the conversation if you stick around here, so you'll be able to contribute from the chat. So we've got some enhancements over here. We're taking advantage of the entire tool set that Clubhouse has enabled us with. So feel free. Anson, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to the conversation. I'd like to offer a guideline. I know everybody's not here yet, but I'm going to go back to is there a problem, and get agreement or disagreement that there is a problem. And then if we all agree on the problem, then we can have different views on what the right solutions are. If we can't agree on the problem, then that's an issue in and of itself. In my view, the problem, starting at 10,000 feet, so to speak, are our cities clean enough, safe enough, in general, particularly our big metropolitan areas, are they the kinds of cities that normal people want to live in? And I believe that there is a patina, a haze, a smog over those cities involving crime, cleanliness, respect for individuals, respect for authority. I think that is a problem that needs to be addressed to make our metropolitan areas, even our small towns, cleaner, safer, more acceptable to normal people, that they would like to live and flourish in such communities. So I believe there is a problem that needs to be addressed. And now we can take it to, is there a problem in DC? Yeah, I think there is a problem in DC where we need to clean DC up. It is our national capital. Does it need to be cleaned up more than Chicago or LA or New York? I don't know. That's not the issue. Does DC, for the normal American, is it clean enough, safe enough, or should we do better to clean up DC? And yeah, I think we should. That sets the stage for the room, and that's where I'll start from. Yes, we need to clean up DC. Now let's figure out a way to do it. And Trump has offered a way to do it. We can agree or disagree. And I sure hope that we get the most progressive, woke person we can find, or group of people that we can find to join in with what might very well be a more right-leaning room, because as I said last week, I really want to have a discussion. And I don't want to be calling somebody a woke asshole or a communist any more than I want to be calling somebody a Nazi or, all those other things. I hope we can limit our characterization of ourselves and others as liberals and conservatives and not go on to the super extremes of accusing a person's position as being super one way or the other in a disparaging manner. We can sort of stick to liberals and conservatives without all the flaming rhetoric, and I hope that we'll be able to find some agreement. Yes, there is a problem, and yes, this is the right way to go about doing it, or the wrong way of going about doing it. I hope we can come up with a consensus when we reach the end of the room. Thanks for letting me share.
I love it. I thought that was an excellent way to start the room, asking the question, is there a problem? And I think there's a problem. I don't spend time in DC, but I do spend time in big cities, and I see crime that is not dealt with. In fact, some cities will allow people to shoplift. Homelessness is out of control. Drug use is rampant, and they've just lost control. And there's a couple of choices that we have. We can continue doing nothing, as we're doing now. We can do what Trump's doing, where he's mobilizing the National Guard to try to solve it and be a little more heavy-handed. Or we can loosen the restrictions and roll the dice and see what happens there. I think the good news about this, and I'm open to hearing all of the critiques, is that Trump is making his attempt to clean up DC. I think that there's going to be some negative externalities that come from this. I think there's going to be some positive externalities that come from this. And most importantly, I would hope that as Americans, we would look at the negative and the positive and weigh it honestly, rather than just allowing our partisanship to determine or predetermine whether we think that this is a good thing or a bad thing. Again, if we can agree that there's a problem, then somebody's got to come up with a solution. And if the solution that Trump is offering is not what you like, I would welcome people in this room to offer up a solution that they think would work. I'll go ahead and yield and welcome Moose to the room.
Thanks, Mojo. Hey, Hansel. Yeah. I'm interested to see what the folks' perspectives are. It's concerning to me. I don't think it's a good idea. I really wish we could try this not in a Republican mayor run city, just to flip the script. So you don't have the expectations of me, someone like myself from the left coming up here and saying, oh, there, no bad Trump, dictator Trump. I don't like, I think people, it's like this knee-jerk reaction. I think people are underestimating the role of police. It's not just about catching the bad guy. I mean, most police departments, urban police departments, populations of similar to DC, which I think is like approximately 600,000 or more, have a whole dedicated task force specifically to address gangs in their areas. Because I can assure you, the average beat cop has no interest in interacting with gang members. They want to get home to their wife and kids, husband and kids, partner and kids, whomever. At the end of the day, there's a whole different kind of training that they do for gang task force. So I think it's like, all right, great, let's bring in the National Guard. So they're all going to just scoop them up in their really pristine, clean uniforms. Is the National Guard going to go around talking to people? Going to try to get somebody to work with them? Try to get somebody who knows the head of the gang, or who knows when whatever activities are going on? I'm just using gangs as an example, but it's far more than just getting the bad guy. It's knowing the streets. Like, the National Guard does not know urban streets and how to navigate within them. It's just not their training. It's not any disrespect to the National Guard. They, of course, have their own special skill set. So I think we are absolutely opening Pandora's box here to send in the National Guard for any type of indication that whatever city's violence or crime is out of control. Send in the National Guard. Send in the National Guard. It's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. I don't know, and I don't know if there's anyone here who can speak. Anson, I know you have a strong military background. I don't know if anyone can speak with the legalities and logistics. I know DC is a very unique, district because it is technically not a state. Obviously, he pulled the similar stuff with the LA situation, with ICE and sent them there. But I think the governor was able to overrule that. So I don't know how it works with DC, but I'm interested to see what folks' perspectives are. Again, I urge you to look at this not from which side of the aisle you're on, but as a matter of practicality, and sending in the National Guard in lieu of trained law enforcement who know the streets better than anybody.
I want to say this real quick. I think this is important. Like some of you guys said, like they think it's necessary, but it is a problem. But like the numbers is simply going to say that in Washington D.C., the numbers in 2024, violent crime was down 35% from the prior year, which made it a 30-year low in violent crime. And this year, to build on that, violent crime is down another 26% in Washington D.C. Robbery down 32%. Murder down 32%, robbery 39%, carjacking down 53%, assault with a deadly weapon down 27%. So for him to frame that DC has some violent crime problem, it's just false. And it's false about most major cities. Violent crime is down in most major cities. So this whole, can I finish? So this whole, we need to do something about violent crime. I mean, this country has been doing something about violent crime for the last 25 years.
Well, just to counteract that, the DC Commission of Police, they were cooking with the crime reports. There was it came out recently that actually not reporting all the crime, they get bonuses. So, yeah, I wouldn't really trust the stats that they're being published by the police force in DC.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, and I don't know enough about DC to get into the specifics, but typically in a city, if they want, if a mayor wants to get reelected, They will work with a police chief that will report less crime, so the crime statistics will show that crime is down. And if the mayor is in good standing and needs to get budget for police, then the crime stats will go up, and everything's reported so they can get the budget to be able to hire more police officers. So the collection of stats, of criminal stats, is, what's the methodology? Has it changed? And if you do a quick little search, it looks like the methodology in DC for collecting crime stats has dramatically shifted since 2019. I don't have enough information to know whether or not it's more accurate, less accurate now. I don't know. What I can tell you is that when you're comparing crime stats from one methodology to another, there's going to be a difference. Again, what that difference is, I don't know. I'm not an expert on that.
I just want to say real quick, the Metropolitan Police Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the FBI, all with the data, all showing the same trend. All three report agencies showing the same data.
I just posted a NBC article that reports that one of the police officers was actually suspended for cooking the data in DC. So you can check that out.
Hey, this is John. Moderators, I would like to tell you the prompt that I put into Grok and then the response I got with regards to this question.
Go ahead.
So my prompt was, hey Grok, how should President Trump deploy the U.S. Reserve military forces, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard to U.S. sanctuary cities? Asking tough questions on Clubhouse. This is Grok's response. John Kitover, President Trump could invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy reserves for supporting ICE in mass deportations and securing high crime areas in sanctuary cities like New York City or LA. Focus on coordination with local compliant forces, prioritizing public safety and legal enforcement, while minimizing civil unrest. This aligns with his executive orders against jurisdictions shielding criminals.
So it sounds like he's got the legal tools to utilize to mobilize this. That he's not outside of he's not over his skis legally. Is what Grok is telling us.
We had started this conversation earlier, Anson, and I was curious about the crime data because there is some evidence that crime has gone down, and you'll never hear me say this often, but Brad mentioned that
Rich, you're my number one fan,
homicide
bro.
rate was unusually
You're my number
high
one fan.
in DC, and I thought that was a valid point that he deserves credit for. Also, I asked Grok 3 questions, and the link is in the chat for people who are curious about has the crime gone down? Because someone had made the argument that crime is at a 6-year low. And Grok is a little inconsistent with that data, but it also depends on what crime are you talking about. They didn't have the jaywalking stats available, but they did have property theft and homicide data. Thank you.
Don't you guys think Trump responds to the so-called body?
No, Rich, I'm not taking your call, dude.
National Guard say that the numbers are fake, but don't provide no other evidence. They say they're fake. I ain't saying you can't do that, but that just sounds very scripted. The president will ignore the data that he's about to U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, and the police department. And just deploy National Guard and just say it's fake without no evidence. You gotta do something. You can't just say it's fake. You can't just say that. You can't just say it.
I don't know. Are we saying fake or are we saying fudged? Because I think there's a difference between outright hyperbolic data and them edging it to make it look better or worse. I'm thinking of Mark Twain's "There are lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics." and how easily we can be influenced by numbers that are technically accurate but don't paint the whole picture.
I mean, but it should be on Trump to paint the whole picture. Like, the numbers are the numbers. As long as so the violent crime is required in National Guard. Like, other than his words, I mean, I never received that. I didn't see people on social media talking to him. They saying it's not like that. But it's up to him to show that opposed to the city of National Guard.
Right, and this will be my last point, and then I'll mute up. Hakima, I understand your concerns, and I actually share a little bit of them. Our military is trained to kill people and break things. Those are their two primary directives. So coddling spoiled, entitled, brat Americans who will go up to them and spit in their face and scream racial epithets at them like we saw during the Black Lives Matter protests, they're ill-suited for that gig. So I do share your concerns that there might be civil liberties violated in this, and Big Balls from Doge, who was beaten up after trying to intervene after seeing a lady attacked by a group of teenagers, and he was severely wounded. And now I believe there are get well soon Big Ball signs all over Washington, D.C., because that's where it happened. And I'm not surprised that Trump is protective over the Doge team.
It was over an attempted carjacking, related piece of car.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna offer a play, trying to figure out, Hakeem, I hear you, okay? Scarlett, I hear you too. And, I began by saying, I believe that there is a major, significant issue in all of our major metropolitan areas. And then I still believe that more action is needed to clean up DC. Okay? I am very hesitant. It's not bad enough that active duty troops need to be put on the streets. No question about that. And I challenge whether or not it's necessary to put the National Guard on the streets. But I do think that the competence of the entire legal system, the competence of that system needs drastic improvement. We should never have cops that let teenage gangs run rampant. They should not allow that to happen. And yet, it seems to me, from what I'm hearing, that is a huge issue. But when the cops take action to not allow them to run rampant, then they have to be backed up by a strong prosecuting office to find a way to prosecute teenage gangs running rampant. And then we have to have judges that don't allow them back on the streets to run rampant again until sufficient rehabilitation and corrective action has been taken. So I think that whole circle of law enforcement in DC and other major metropolitan areas needs to be tightened up. Now that doesn't mean I'm asking for stormtroopers and kangaroo courts and prosecution for 10 years in prison for jaywalking. No, that's not exactly anything like that. But I do believe that whole circle of law enforcement needs to be tightened up. And when I listened to the press conference today, and the new judge, I've forgotten her name, the new judge was talking about that, how they need to strengthen the enforcement of existing laws with the cops on the street more competent cops
Hey,
willing,
Nicholas.
able, and allowed to do their jobs and do them legally, and then backed up by
What are your top
the prosecuting system
10
and by the judges, so that
suggestions?
this laxness, this malaise, this smog of crime and unsafety, and I'll include the homeless population, though. I am absolutely, when Trump said we're gonna clean it out, we're gonna clean out all the homeless, where are you gonna put them, Mr. President? I have no idea. So I'm hesitant to endorse the National Guard being out there, and I would be watching them carefully. And the National Guard certainly does not have, I don't think they have arrest powers. All they are there to do is to back up the local police to make sure the local police are not overwhelmed by some gang or something of that sort. So I'm willing to tolerate that for a while until I see examples of jackboot thugs, stormtrooper like National Guard. And I don't think we saw that in LA. I don't think we've seen that at all of the National Guard. I'm not going to get into ice ages, but in terms of the National Guard in LA, I have not heard a squeak about the National Guard causing, acting like stormtroopers. I think they've been pretty successful in backing up the cops, and we haven't seen more problems in LA than we've seen already. I'll leave it at that for the time being. I will be interested in feedback on that observation.
Your point, Anson, the district attorneys, they don't support the cops who do arrest, criminal people. Like, they just catch and release sort of issue. And there's no prosecution that occurs.
I just want to say, hi guys, first, in New York, I mean, routinely in the papers, a person getting arrested, and he has 20 plus violent crimes, that he was arrested for in the past. So this is a major problem in sanctuary cities. In the other room, they were discussing this too, that they started off, is Trump sending the National Guard to D.C. because he's afraid of Epstein, of the Epstein files. So I quickly searched for a room. Good old Mojo Raja has normal concepts of how to arrange a room. That's ridiculous, the Epstein concept, and I'm glad I'm here. Anson, I agree with you once again. Prosecution.
Again, it's cops, prosecutors, and judges that all need to be tightened up in the interest of safety and keeping our streets and cities the way normal Americans would expect their cities to be operated.
Well, I'll be interested in seeing what local residents have to say about this. I mean, I haven't watched any live news all day. Probably won't be able to until later this evening. So I'm curious to know what the local residents have to say, considering that some reports are, as we were stating here in another room, that the crime is not as bad as this administration would have us believe. The crime rates have dropped over the past year. So what locals feel compared to what local politicians feel with their reaction to Trump's military deployment. But another thing is this, no matter how we feel about President Trump, him using using the federal government to take charge, maybe he feels like this situation is out of control, and this is the answer to it. And me not living there or having visited the city, D.C., I don't know, right? All I can do is just support our president. If our president feels like the crime in D.C. is out of control, and the National Guard has to handle it because the local police cannot
they're not equipped to carry this task out properly, then I suppose I support y'all on that.
Has anybody been to DC lately? I'm not aware of, do they have like the San Francisco issue of like human poop on the sidewalk? Like what, like, the crime statistics aren't necessarily the most compelling thing to me, but in my lived experience, when I was in San Francisco last, there was human poop right outside the hotel room that I was staying at, and like I think there's definitely a problem with crime, with homelessness, and I think we should want our big great cities to be beautiful and prosperous and safe. And again, I don't know if this is the right step, but does anybody disagree that we should have beautiful, prosperous, clean, safe cities?
I think the food map that you can check online was perfectly terrible, meaning that it exposed the problem in a comical way, and I believe it's still active. And when you click on it, the demographic is brown, the visual. So yeah, I think we should have clean streets, and I think Washington, if we have to pick one area of our country to be the safest, I'm going to pick Washington D.C. over any major city because the tourism, the people that go there from across the country and across the world, it's vital that our jewel of the shining city on the hill is appropriately clean and washed.
Yeah, cities should be clean, graffiti free, free from homeless people, free from liberals walking up and down the sidewalk passing out free crack pipes to the drug addicts.
By the way, is it an illegal alien issue also, or it's just local criminals that he's cracking down on that's got out of hand?
Is it possible that he has information that we don't have, and that maybe there's threats that are emerging that he's not telling us about?
That's a factor I hadn't considered, but since we just celebrated the 1 year anniversary and we're almost dying, I think we should do it.
It's 100% possible, if I could just say from my perspective as somebody who's worked in the media for a long time, I get these tips from my colleagues in legacy media, they work with mainstream outlets, AP, NBC, et cetera, et cetera. And oftentimes I'm given information, and other folks in the media that, hey, what's being reported mainstream nationally is not what's actually happening behind the scenes. And, I've had a number of instances where, certain terroristic threats that the media might report on, and the masterminds behind them are actually not the masterminds behind them, but they tell the public one thing, and and they blame it on, they cite national security as the reason for the lies and the propaganda. So it's 100% possible that Trump has information that we may never have, or if we do get it, it will be some whitewashed version of what's really actually happening behind the scenes.
Hey, this is John, and I'm on the DC.gov website looking at the 2025 year-to-date crime comparison. And, there's in 2024, it says that there were 2,100 violent crimes total, and in 2025, 1,500, down 26%. Only 112 people got murdered there last year, and 100 this year. 110 sex abuse cases, only half this year, I guess because the Democrats are gone. And assault with a dangerous weapon last year was 667, down to 534 this year. And robbery last year was 1,300. This year it's 900. So 900 robberies this year alone. And if you've ever been to DC, I mean, that's a lot of robberies. I mean, why is any of this even tolerated, or why is all of this happening in every major city? Because if we were to really look at every major city's total crime stats and contemplate that, you'd shit your pants. You'd be like, I can't believe this is happening nonstop in every major U.S. city. Why is society and why is reality like that throughout the whole country?
Well, in Illinois, there is a congressman, Illinois state congressman, tabling tabling a act or resolution that attacking police is not a crime. So you can imagine.
No respect for the law. Hence why there's more criminals. No one respects the law, and the law is not respected in any format or any way. So people just do what they want to do. People live how they want to do. So what is the law going to do? What is the law? The law is the people of the country. You are the law. Each and every one of you make the difference. So we need more people standing up and speaking out and saying what they see and what they don't see, and just creating more awareness constantly. You know.
Yeah, it's a symptom of a low trust society instead of a high trust.
So how do you gain that trust is the question. You gotta get in there, get down with the nitty and the gritty, you know, and then see what's really going on, you know, step into the put the spotlight, you know, the dark corners of the town. And did you get me? Don't give no to this space. You know, at the end of the day, the world is changing, everyone's mixed up, everyone's you don't even know who's criminal, it's not everybody's, you know what I'm saying? So it's more of a reason to do so, you know. You love your country and you want peace and you want to keep the peace and you want to maintain that peace, then it's only logical to just do what's right. And what's right is upholding the law. You know, it doesn't matter where you're from or what country you're from or what background. It doesn't cost nothing to respect and appreciate, you know, freedom or whatever you've been given to me. You know, I think people forgot that it's thinking life are simple and everybody's far away from the simplicity. So, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of trust, trust is built from the baseline, which is punishing the robbery, thieves, murderers, and the lawbreakers.
Definitely face the physical dust, you know, coming from. But not enough people are doing everybody's scared. There's a lot more people thinking criminality, that. And the time we live in, everybody's hiding more things. So it's more of a reason to get in there and to get aware of everything. And them having the same mindset and awareness and educating people, knowing what's what and means and characteristics to watch out for, you know. Some people going through something and they might just they're going through something, see what they're doing. So it's like a sickness in it really. There's no where the sickness really comes from.
Victoria, what are your thoughts on this? Oh, hold on a sec. Moose, I think you're in the Matrix. Either I am or you are. Was Moose in the Matrix?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Victoria, I'd like to call on you. Somebody that knows a little bit about DC, such as yourself, what did you think of what's happening? No, that's still in the Matrix. Are we getting hit with the Matrix? I know Moose got hit with it. Victoria, are you here? Victoria, are you with us? Can you hear my voice? Is my voice traveling? Okay. Okay, got it. All right. Well, Victoria's not here. I wanted to get her thoughts because it's interesting. But if anybody else
with her level of expertise, she'd be invaluable to this conversation. So I hope she turns in soon.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. And just for the fellow mods, Anson and Moose, Victoria has shared with us on multiple occasions that she has been to the Situation Room to brief presidents on what matter, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that something like this, perhaps she would have the type of insights that the rest of us don't. So I'd really like to hear from Victoria when she gets a chance.
She's been on mic for a while. Oh, maybe she's back. Victoria, are you there?
It's year over year. It's not a comparison to other cities.
You are back. Yep, we hear you.
You can compare it to other cities, and that's called
the presidential brief expert to chime in. I think it was Hanson that said earlier that, was it Illinois that does not consider attacking or assaulting a police officer a crime. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, that's right.
And this is a new law, you said?
It's being tabled by a congressman.
So it's tabled, which means it's not passed yet.
It's not passed yet.
Oh, okay, because the way you spoke earlier was that it was passed, which is very misleading.
Yeah, not yet. I pray that Illinois have some senses, still have some senses remaining in their heads.
Any idea what the grounds of that would be? Because if you attack any individual on the street, that's assault in pretty much every state, let alone an officer.
You can ask that guy.
That guy?
Obviously, I think yes.
What guy?
The congressman who tabled that. What do you call it? Act or suggestion.
If table means to put it aside.
Put it.
Proposed.
Correct.
Proposed.
Correct.
Okay.
Table.
Yeah, that's why I was just asking for clarification.
It's not proposing.
Yeah, because that even seems kind of wild for a democratic state. I mean, like I don't even see how anyone on the left would get behind that.
I'm gonna ask a little bit more detailed question. Is it okay to spit in the face of a cop that is trying to enforce the law? And the second question, is that illegal or is it legal?
Oh, actually, just one quickly. Yes, you're right. The table proposal means postponing. Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. Thank you for questioning that. I mean, actually, proposing the proposal that the assaulting a police officer will not be a crime.
Maybe it has to do something with like the hierarchies of power. You know, the police have power over the individual who isn't a police officer, and they're thinking, oh, well, that can't be assault.
I'm wondering if you mean it's the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't be a misdemeanor. Are we talking about spitting or attacking an officer, which are very different things?
That would never pass. I don't think we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing I've ever even. Well, let's not even give that idea any more oxygen. Victoria, I see that you're in chat. Are you back and able? Are you in a space where you're able to talk? Roger was asking for his opinion earlier.
Wait, Moose, you think attacking a police officer, a physical assault versus spitting are not the same thing? You think spitting should be deregulated?
I didn't say it should be deregulated. I said it's very... I don't know anyone who's gone to the hospital for being spit on.
I mean, some people have, but that's an edge case. The biggest thing is it automatically a felony? Right now, I think it is in a lot of cases to a police officer, an official to spit in their face. It can be straight up charged as a felony instead of just a misdemeanor civil disturbance. So I think that's the difference. Whoever's talking about a law right now
I think that's what they're trying to change, so it's a lesser penalty than actual being a felony.
Why should going to the hospital be a factor? I mean, you could slap someone in the face. It's not going to go to a hospital. We should have respect for our police.
Exactly.
I mean,
I wasn't saying that it was. I was just using that as an example to show the harm that typical spitting would bring versus physical assault. I agree. I am very much against any interference with an officer, spitting. You can say whatever you want. All you beautiful free speech absolutists here. You can say whatever you want, although I think it's odd that some of you take issue with what someone telling an officer to F off or give them a finger, because you can certainly bring no physical harm or saliva to their face. I don't have a problem with that. It's free speech. But spitting, I say, is going too far.
Spitting is disgusting. It's disgusting. I'll say this really quickly. It should be a federal charge, right? Can you imagine if they ease back on this law, the number of progressive blue-haired lunatics? They're already throwing boulders and stones at the ICE agents in LA when they were protesting about a month ago over the ICE break. So can you imagine if we said, oh, it's just a slap on the wrist, you can spit on the cops? The number of people who would be spitting and hurling loogies at cops. Spitting is disgusting, whether you do it on a cop or a civilian. You should be charged with the fullest extent of the law. Go to jail for the weekend, for all I'm concerned. No, we shouldn't ease up on people who want to spit on law enforcement. Sorry, God.
Akima, do you have a response to that? I'm really interested.
To what y'all just got to talking about?
Yeah. Do you think spitting on a cop is a violation of the law and action should be taken legally if someone does that? Spitting on a cop.
I think that's pretty common sense. I don't think nobody can disagree with that. I mean, of course, that should be a crime.
Great. Good. I mean, that's because I'm sure that there's somebody that feels, at least some people at least feel that that's perfectly all right because the cops are doing absolutely outrageous things, even though they're doing it in accordance with the law. They're doing outrageous things, and therefore spitting on them is a form of protest that should be acceptable. I don't agree with that, but I'm sure there's some that feel that way.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hanson. And actually, I'd like to call out when I'm wrong. I stand corrected, as Jarl put in the chat. I forgot that is true. Somebody carrying any sort of transcommunicable disease, and spit in your eye, in your mouth, could actually end up being lethal. So that was a bad comparison. But regardless, I still say spit on the sidewalk. If you really feel the urge, I don't know, maybe spit on their car tires, but do not spit on another cop or another human being. You must, maybe you're playing baseball and chewing tobacco in the dugout.
Let me ask a question. How are the police reacting? I haven't read anything about that. In a real good world, the police would work together with the National Guard. So how are the police reacting to the National Guard?
That's an excellent question, Jules. It's like, what message does that send? It's like, move over, boys, ladies and gentlemen in uniform. The president has clearly said you're inept. So instead of trying to work together, we're just going to kind of push you to the side, even though we are not authorized to make any arrest, even though we know nothing about interrogation, even though we know nothing about constitutional rights when it comes to making said arrest, probable cause, all that good stuff. But let's get the National Guard out there. So I'm curious, are there folks that are, I think Nye, you might be the only one who said, okay, well maybe if the president knows stuff that we don't know, then yeah, by all means, let's get the National Guard out. So I don't know if you want to, I don't need to put you on the spot. Anybody can answer this who's really pro-National Guard to the title of the poll. What does that look like, let's say if DC was your city? Like how do you imagine the National Guard is making a difference?
But Moose, let me explain a large city that's near me, Seattle, where the anarchists had taken over several city blocks, and the police chief and the mayor basically defanged the police officers to even be able to do their job. And they didn't have the back of the officers on the street. So I don't know what the sentiment is for the officers that are in DC, but I can tell you that the sentiment of the officers that were in Seattle was one that they felt that they were let down. And there was a mass exodus of police officers that either left law enforcement altogether or immediately were looking to work in a city where the mayor, the city council, and the chief of police would allow them to do their job. And so, again, I don't know how DC is ran or what the perception is among the force. I don't know what the perception is among the people in DC about this. But I can tell you specifically, even in left-leaning Seattle, during the whole Chaz Chop thing, there was a great many people that would have welcomed some assistance, somebody to have the gumption to come in and enforce the law. In fact, many of the police themselves would have welcomed it. And now you have a problem where Seattle can't hire police because nobody wants to work in Seattle as a police officer, knowing that you don't have the support to do your job. So I think that's something that we should consider.
I also would, I want to go back to what Moose said, which was, again, strongly questioning the need for the National Guard, or should the Guard come in. Is there any evidence of the National Guard doing untoward things in California? The National, that's a current example of what 700 or something, whatever, 1,500 National Guard went in. I have not read nor heard of accusations against stormtrooper tactics or whatever against the National Guard. Is there evidence of the National Guard doing anything other than being in a support mode to the local police and protecting the local police as they go about their legal duties? Any evidence that the National Guard has gone beyond that and have become stormtroopers or whatever?
Not that I've read. I don't know if that question was directed to anybody in specific, but I haven't read any stories about the National Guard ever turning into rogue stormtroopers. But maybe we have some fact checkers in the house.
That's a great question, Hanson. And I wonder if anybody knows what instructions the National Guard are getting. You know, they're just not going in blind. They have to have instructions on what they can do, what they can't do, what their role is, what their role isn't. I mean, you just can't. That's why I checked off I don't know in Mojo's question. I'm not sure, because there's a lot that goes into play. You just don't bring them in and say kill, shoot to kill. You know, there's got to be some working together and kind of cooperation with the local police.
Well, I would offer the suggestion that if the National Guard, and for lack of a better word, I will call it stormtrooper tactics, if there was a hint of the National Guard having done that in California and Los Angeles in particular, I am sure it would have been headline news. If they caught one guy on video beating somebody up with a baton or punching them in the face with the butt of his rifle or something like that. I'm sure it would have been headline news. So the absence of any significant reporting on misuse of the National Guard, other than the fact that they're there and they're backing up the police, I'm sure we would have heard about it. But again, if anybody's got evidence that the National Guard has done anything other than be a force behind the police to guard against attacks against the police while they're executing their lawful duties, I sure would like to hear about it. And in not hearing about it, that would lend my support as evidence that the National Guard has gotten the right briefings and they are doing the right thing out there. It's been 35 years, a little longer than that. But, when I graduated from college, within 2 years, I was a shore patrol officer walking around and I was just a straight line officer, no particular training or anything, but I knew how to be a shore patrol officer with two sailors behind me carrying their billy bats, and I'm walking around with a 45 pistol, and I felt comfortable in that kind of a role. I knew how to act. I never had to, obviously, never had to do anything seriously. But again, I'm sure that the Guard is very carefully briefed on the do's and don'ts.
Why do people police complaints about referencing a complaint about Americans?
The Guard, the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Why do people police complaints about referencing a complaint about Americans describing Americans as not?
Hanson, let's say you're right, and they're acting appropriately. Wouldn't it be nice to see local police make reference to that? That, hey, we worked with them, they did this, we did that, crowd dispersed, something nice. We don't hear that.
So does the shadow.
Do you think the local police are held back from saying something nice about the National Guard, who might be saving their lives? I'd like to hear that. I'd like to get feedback.
I actually.
Go ahead.
All right. Oh, thank you. Just a quick second, Anson, and then maybe you can reply to both of us. So I really hesitate to do always, ever, never. Because as soon as I say I don't think it's ever happened, there's going to be one isolated incident that, so it might happen. And then we handle it. We make sure that we have restorative justice as much as possible, that the people who are found to be guilty or appropriately receive appropriate consequences. Thank you.
Well, I was just going to say, Anson, to your point, asking for data or examples, it's difficult. And I realize why it's difficult. It's because I can't even think of examples when they were sent in to back up police, aside from maybe the Watts riots. I think the last time a president called in the National Guard, with the exception of earlier this year, Trump calling him into California, the last time a president ordered the National Guard without the governor calling them in was, I believe, Johnson, to escort black children safely into schools that the then, I think, outspoken anti-segregationist, was it Wallace, I believe, governor of Alabama at that point?
That was Eisenhower that called him in for that.
Eisenhower, thank you. To protect those young lives. So, this is an anomaly. This is a unicorn. I really, if anyone else you can dig deep way past ChatGPT and see when National Guard has been called in to complement and augment local law enforcement.
January 6th.
Yeah, well, I think that was worthy.
Well, hold up. But without you asked without a governor, so they don't have a governor in D.C.
Right, sorry. So that's but that's the same unique unicorn that we're talking about because they don't have. Correct. But I guess the other question is, I don't even know if we brought this up. So what does that mean to deploy them? And now he's talking about, if you've seen headlines, he's talking about sending them into Chicago. I'm not going to deny Chicago has the highest, I think, body count homicide rate annually than any other city, I think, in the country.
Not true.
Okay, well, it may not be the worst, but it's bad. It's bad. It came up. I'm sorry for it.
And it's down year over year. The numbers going down.
Is Kansas City the worst? It's top 5. My point is.
We're talking per capita absolute numbers.
Yeah. Anyway, if I could get the point out, if the president continues to send in National Guard, and to your point, Roger, of killing the morale of local law enforcement, and then thus depleting them, and then they end up leaving, what do you think the National Guard is going to stay? No. They're a Band-Aid. So if the president continues to send in National Guard to various cities around the country, is that not taking away from their active duties, heaven forbid, when our actual borders do need to be protected?
Moose, hasn't their morale been already defeated by local judges and that let people, the revolving door of crime? That's what's doing the trick.
Example.
Yeah,
That's why
I want to know. Yes. I'd like to know if they welcome the National Guard.
This internet edition is
That's where I'm stuck in limbo here. I don't know if they welcome them or resent them.
Well, back to Moose's original point, very few times has the president sent in the National Guard, and I'll agree with that. But there are numerous times where the National Guard has been called out, and I mean numerous, over the course of history. So I think to determine whether the National Guard has acted like stormtroopers, whether the governor calls them out or the president calls them out, take the whole picture. Whenever the National Guard has been called out, is there strong evidence to indicate the National Guard have become stormtroopers to trot on civil rights or just back up the police? That would be my counter to it's just looking at the microcosm of where the president's called them out. Let's look at all the times that they've been called out and see what the statistics would be.
As far as this term stormtroopers, which we know what that relates to historically, I haven't heard anybody complain about treatment from National Guard. I have heard people complain about treatment from ICE, right? So if there's any force of the law at the moment on a federal basis has at least the impression, if not the reality, of abuse, it would be coming from, or you leave out the word abuse, but illegal actions could potentially be coming from ICE, not from the National Guard. With the National Guard being deployed in a city, is the president saying, I have more power than you? This was what was said about Kennedy when he sent in the National Guard in 1964. That was the first time that ever happened. That wasn't asked for by the governor. And if you leave out January 6th for the moment, that's the only other time that's ever happened before Trump sent in the National Guard to Los Angeles. And this is a factual statement, whether anybody likes it or not. During the time that they were in LA, they were not working on fire prevention and they were literally working on putting out fires when they got diverted to Los Angeles. It's about fear, from my perspective, Mojo, and diversion tactics. It's red meat. I'm going to take over the city. I'm the president. I can do that. And he can, actually, until statehood passes. Which at some point in the future, you all know that, sometime in the future, the left is going to control the power. And that's probably what they'll do, is they'll make D.C. into a state. They only need to pass a law. It's not a constitutional amendment or anything.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
hold on, dear. I don't want to step over your beautiful voice, but I just wanted to say that when it comes to DC, I think fighting for statehood is the wrong thing to fight for. I think what they should be fighting for is the idea that they don't have representation, and they should, if you live in DC, you should be exempt, in my opinion, from paying federal tax. That would be my take. But I think something that, because something we're not talking about is what was the headlines prior to this happening. All of a sudden, nobody's talking about Epstein, and everybody's talking about the National Guard. I don't want to change the subject, but what I am going to say is that the timing is very convenient.
Totally. Agreed. Hard to ignore.
Is the reason why we don't describe things that make the left active as red meat for the masses because most of them are vegans?
Say what?
Trey, is that Monica?
Of course it's Monica, yeah. I don't know where you got that they're mostly vegans thing. That's pretty funny.
That was what we like to call humor. For those of you that got it, it landed. For those of you that don't have a sense of humor, it probably didn't land. But thank you, Monica. I thought it was great. Victoria, we were asking you earlier with your unique experience, did you want to talk about your thoughts on what's happening in DC?
No, I think it's already been discussed to death, honestly. So
Okay, so you have no additional expertise.
I would say, like, just as a woman who lived there, I felt like it was challenging sometimes. It did feel somewhat dangerous, I would say. And every single day, like on the news cycle for TC, you would hear about another person who had been violently attacked or something else. So definitely not like I mean, not to say that, like, not to make it sound bad, but it was pretty challenging, I would say.
Can I just ask, if you were to have had an opportunity to brief the president, in the Situation Room or anywhere else, would you have told him, like, National Guard, bad idea?
This president doesn't get briefed. My dear friend, no, he doesn't listen to anyone or experts.
Or to whoever he spoke to last, Victoria. It's one of the two, right?
Sorry, I wish that you would actually have, like, a better or broader perspective, but you don't. So, unfortunate.
You're talking to me saying I don't have a broader perspective, is that what you just said?
Yep.
Fascinating. Okay. Well, listen,
Daniel may have one of I think he has one of the more broader perspectives in this room.
Well, I don't know if perspective is a competition here, but I like Daniel. And Victoria is an acquired taste, and I think with her unique experience, I welcome it here. Serendipity, I want to hear from you, but before you do, I just want to point people to the poll up above, which is very tight. It's almost equal thirds. In true Clubhouse fashion, we have finally it's at 100%. It was at 102% earlier. So Serendipity, go ahead and jump in, and as we continue to participate in the poll. Anyone that hasn't participated in the poll, please consider doing that prayerfully. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to do something that's really, really annoying. I was really looking forward to this room, and I had child drama, so I didn't get to hear a lot of it. But I was curious, did anybody happen to say anything about the Posse Comitatus Act as far as, like, I know Newsom tried to use that against Trump when he sent National Guard and forces into LA, and it didn't work because he was able to use it under the Immigration Enforcement Clause. But I'm just wondering, like, his repealing that Article 740 or whatever it was that he did in order to do this in DC, I read that he can only do that for 48 hours without congressional approval. And then with congressional approval, it can only be for up to 30 days. Have you guys talked about that?
Serendipity, as I understand it, Posse Comitatus only applies to active duty military forces. And so there has not been an accusation of there's an accusations of violation of Posse Comitatus, but I'm pretty sure it only applies to active duty troops, not the National Guard.
Well, you're true in most cases with the National Guard unless he federalized it. And my understanding was that he did.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it Congress or the Speaker of the Chair that passed to? Okay.
What I read was Congress, but it was like a really brief article on it, so what that entails on it, but it said Congress.
So just to clarify, Rod, do you think that it should have representation but not statehood, right? Well, if I heard you right, what does that mean?
They should not have to pay federal tax because they don't have representation. I think fighting for statehood. I think fighting for statehood would be a silly choice when they can make a very logical argument. I think they would win legally if they really push the envelope.
On the tax thing, like basically, since we're not a state, you can't tax us.
Yeah.
So
They don't have representation. So why would they pay federal tax?
So if it came down to a choice for most people, you can either have representation or no tax. Sure, some people would choose the no tax, and some. It's just really a question of what.
I think it'd become an IQ test. Do you want corrupt politicians to represent you, or would you like to not pay federal tax? It's an IQ test at that point.
Well, they don't pay state tax because they're not a state. So that's that. And their representative, they vote. So that's representation.
Tell me which senators are in DC.
When you live there?
Does DC have senators?
He means
Every other state has two.
Yeah, they don't have another state.
Become a state, if they were somehow able to pull that off, I'm just saying, they would end up with 2 more senators, most likely going to be on the left as well.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but the point is like, again, I can understand why the Democratic Party would want statehood so they can have representation to try to ram their weird wokey agenda through. That being said, the people of DC why would you want more corrupt politicians when you can have no taxes?
So that's basically saying no government is better than even some government, according to you. Because I heard you say the other day that some regulation is okay, just like as little as possible, but some is not zero, right? You're going to say people are better off with no representation just because they're politicians.
They don't have representation now, Daniel, but we're drifting off topic. I'll tell you what, the after party in the muff, you could please bring this conversation to me, because I'd love to go deep and wide into this thing and call out the little magic trick that you're trying to play right now, where you're suggesting that somehow if you gave people tax relief in DC, that means that there's no government. I mean, come on, grow up.
No, I offered it as a choice, and you said if they get a choice, they're just going to choose. If they don't have the right IQ, they're just going to choose the no tax thing. And I'm just simply saying that.
Well, listen. If you have a choice.
Like you said, Roger, we're getting off topic. But go ahead.
Yeah. We should get back on topic.
Just about DC.
In order to, in an effort to get back on topic, I would really like somebody in the 37%, somebody in the 32% that says no, they should not explain why specifically you voted that way, that they should not have deployed the National Guard. But somebody gave me an extra, maybe you, Moose.
Go ahead.
Well, I shared mine earlier. I don't want to repeat, but I welcome anyone else who hasn't had a chance to speak, and then I'll be happy. My elevator pitch in a nutshell, like I said before, I think it's a terrible idea because it is, if this is the go-to response, you're going to bleed out the National Guard to cities around the country. And again, as mentioned earlier, there were examples of police departments that took this not as a, oh, thank you, I'm so glad you're here, quite the opposite, to, wait a minute, why did I go to the police academy? Why do I risk my life out here every day? Just so, military guys can come out and do my job.
Let's get some other folks down here that can perhaps give a different.
Anson, this is John. I was in the National Guard, and I want to say that, I live in Chicago. I think they should deploy the National Guard, and I've seen interviews with National Guard soldiers who were deployed in California, and they said, this was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I've had so much fun. So when Moose says that police officers are going to be upset that National Guardsmen are helping keep the streets safe from rampant gun crime, I mean, believe me, cops want the backup. They can't wait to meet their local National Guard, component. And why you think people in this country are not going to rally around security, safety? I mean, I don't get it, Moose, but that's because that's the perspective you have.
Okay, so that's John and Scott explaining why they're on opposite sides of the fence. Somebody else tell me why the National Guard, with a different reason, why the National Guard should not be deployed in D.C.
It's not a problem that needs to be solved in the first place. You don't have a crime problem in DC in the first place. Doesn't warrant it. And second, what Moose is saying, is precedent is something in law and in norms and governance and everything else, right? Whenever something's done for the first time, it's big news because it's never been done before, and that's for good reason. This sets a precedent for the president to execute his decision authority over the actions of cities using these federal forces. I don't think that's a good precedent you'd want a left-wing president to practice on.
I would suggest that the precedent has already been first established in California of late, but I understand what you're saying, Daniel, and thanks for the input.
I mean, are you
anybody else?
Are we ready for closing comments?
We've got about 20 minutes to wrap this room up. I think if everybody did speak, we would get to that in 20 minutes. Two T's, do you want to give your closing thoughts? Because I would not only love to hear the thoughts, but I would love to hear the voice.
Okay, well, as we opened the room, and we had a poll in an earlier room where the choices were, yes, there is crime, and we should protect our national symbol of freedom around the world, which is Washington, D.C. There were three options. The second one included concerns about freedom and the chances of it going badly for unruly, spoiled brats in the street, accustomed to well-trained riot police contain our military, which are trained to kill people and break things. So, and then not sure, let's see. So I think that's kind of where I am. I don't like the idea of women being assaulted. I don't like the idea of people's property being taken. And if extra security See, that goes where we're denying liberty, right? If we truly believe in liberty, we should let the individuals take care of their security themselves so that we don't tread into authoritarian state borders. I don't know. I feel bad for the elderly when they had all the depolicing in our country, all the calls to abolish the police. There were senior citizens in major cities saying, I don't go outside my apartment unless there's a police presence because I'm 80 years old. And all they would have to do is push me over and I could break a hip and die. So I think that's kind of where I am. I think it's a good idea if executed well. And I will be paying attention to make sure it is. Thank you.
Is it outrageous? Are we doing final closing comments or something, or is this popcorn stuff?
Well, we can popcorn close our comments, so you can go ahead, but can we just all drink in what we just heard? That was beautifully stated and in a lovely tonation. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm looking at this mpdc.dc.gov website again, and all crime for last year there were 17,000 incidences of crime and 16,000 this year. I mean, if you want crime down 80%, and that means taking out, I guess, major criminal elements, especially. Listen, I don't know. I mean, can you drop crime 80%, or is it all a lie and that's society? So I just don't think it's outlandish to deploy National Guard soldiers. They're gonna get paid when they go on this deployment. Otherwise, they're on a monthly salary and they're 2-week, annual training. So deploy them with police. Enhance security, increase our security. We're already paying for it. You might as well get some service for your tax dollar. I'm complete.
If we're enhancing security, to your point, John, if the point of the National Guard is not to detain and apprehend and arrest, which of course they have absolutely no constitutional power to do, so it would be good that they don't do that. How many officers have we read about in D.C. That have been killed, attacked? My understanding is that it's the citizens that are at threat, not the police. So please enlighten me how National Guard would protect police that are not being it. John, you're muted if you're talking.
Sorry. When I was a National Guardsman, Chicago had plenty of rampant crime, but the police were allowed to do their jobs. Now we have a radical Marxist, communist, socialist, terrorist teachers union history professor as our
John.
mayor.
Stay on point. We're talking about D.C. Go ahead. Let's talk about D.C. Thank you.
Well, I, not having lived there, I've been to D.C. and I thoroughly enjoyed my experience while I was doing contract training on behalf of the government. And guess who was in my contract training class in D.C.? A bunch of Palestinians working for USAID, learning how to scam us out of billions of dollars in contracts. So again, the problem is not the president. The problem is not the National Guard.
Is there anyone else here who is pro National Guard that can explain to me how they're going to enhance and protect police that are not at risk of being threatened? Again, if sure, clearly they can have a presence to discourage like rioting, right? Like the ICE riots and such in LA. But again, what's lost on me is sending in National Guard to enhance and protect police because again, they are not authorized to detain, apprehend, interrogate, or arrest. They're there for presence. Clearly political presence, and not to protect the police.
Is that your opinion, or do you?
I want to jump in too.
That's my opinion. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Mark, or jump in, sure.
Go ahead, Joe. I'll wait.
I mean, Joe, if you have data that proves otherwise, I am all ears. I'm a sponge for data. But I haven't seen any reports that indicate that.
I just got to the room, but I lived in D.C. for 5 years. I worked for the NSA Comm Center, and we leaned on National Guard big time for protection. Don't y'all want your capital of your country protected? Come on.
You can overprotect something and harm people in the process too, Joe. And I get the truth of whatever you feel comfortable in, and you having lived there, you have your own lived experience. That's true. but the numbers that he's talking about really do matter. And there is less crime now than there was in the past. That is a fact of numbers. And so if you really had a crime problem, why is it going down when you're putting more resources there? Which, two things, what Moose is pointing out. Number one, it's using resources, taxpayer resources. And number two, it's friggin' breaking the law as well. Certainly pushing it as much as it possibly can.
So Daniel, the thing that you just said to be a fact is not quite as clear cut as you make it sound. When it comes to police reporting, there's different methodologies. In fact, DC completely switched their methodology in 2019. So when you have crime that goes up and goes down, there's different reasons of why you would want it to go up or go down when it comes to the reporting of it. And the reporting is not a direct correlation with the crime itself. And so you can have situations where crime is on the rise and the reporting says it's on the decline. You could also have it vice versa. Now, I don't have enough information to tell you if it is rising or declining. What I can tell you for a fact, though, is that if you think that crime statistics are accurate, you should talk to people that collect these statistics, because they will tell you it's incorrect.
So
let's go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, if we took you at face value that they're not reliable statistics, and you are generally like the lowest government possible, what is the justification if you don't actually have statistics that it's increasing? Is it just whatever the president happens to be hearing lately? Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. I'm simply pushing back on the narrow point that you were making about it's a fact that the crime has gone up, and you're pointing to the statistics.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's all I'm pushing back on. I think everybody would agree that that's true, that statistics can be manipulated.
I wouldn't agree that they're not reliable, but I don't have to agree with you on the fact that there isn't justification for the use of this force in this situation. That's what your room is asking about.
Yeah, and if you notice in the poll, which right now the leading choice is not sure, you can see that I've selected, if you double check the purple icon in the upper left of my PTR, I'm not sure it's the right thing to do. But circling back to what Anson said at the beginning of this room is, and I think this is true of any room that we do on these topics, is we should ask the question: can we all agree that there is a problem? Because if we could agree there's a problem, then we can debate what the solution is. And I would say that the problem statement that I would agree on is that U.S. cities in general, not just D.C., have a crime problem, have a drug problem, have a homeless problem, and I think we have a duty to make wise decisions to try to reduce those things. We want safe cities. We want prosperous cities. We want cities where women can feel safe to walk down the street. And when I'm visiting San Francisco, an area that I spent 40 years of my life in, I shouldn't have to stumble outside of the hotel room and nearly step in human shit. And if you don't believe that, I can PTR the photograph. That's all I'm saying.
Roger, why didn't you say sanctuary cities? I think everything starts with sanctuary cities. I mean, that got to be outlawed.
These narratives.
So can I say a couple things, short?
You certainly can, but for housekeeping, just so everybody knows, we are going to end this room in 10 minutes. And there will be an after room. For those of you that like clipping the polls, do that, because at 3:25 Pacific time, 4 minutes from now, I'm going to take the poll down and I'm going to replace it with a room that we can go and kind of have a more casual conversation about this and other things. But go ahead, Joe B. We've got 9 minutes.
I never take that much time. We voted for less government, but today we need more government to protect us, to gather intelligence, to be prepared for war. Like it or lump it, we're headed that way. And I would welcome anyone to debate that with data.
I love that you still use the like it or lump it. Very old school. But what we also need is a president who can actually rule for the entire country without bias, who does not continue to go after black women, like the mayor of D.C., like Letitia James, the attorney general, who had the audacity of doing her job and trying to prosecute. That's all. So I just, sometimes it's really hard not to say that out loud. I'm tired of being polite. Sorry, Jules. I think I'm still talking. Jules. I'm almost done. Thank you. So,
hold on, guys.
Roger, I'm gonna ignore that.
Yeah, hold on real quick. Let's show respect to the mods. The one thing that we want to do is create a space where we can talk about these issues, have an open chat where people can put their opinions, and the moderators have been selected by me to make sure that we have people that represent a more broad spectrum of politics. And if you disagree with what a moderator says, when it's your turn to speak, you can do that. But what you shouldn't be doing is disagreeing with somebody while they're speaking. That's just rude. So, Moose, go ahead and continue.
Thank you. I was just going to finish up. It's just hard not to call it out. And I'm sorry, you can't resist the elephant in the room with the Republican being the elephant, of course. It's disheartening, man. It's disheartening. Like, you've heard me in these rooms before, Roger. Like, I could give a rat's ass on what side of the aisle it is, whether it's Epstein, a PDF, whatever have you. If Bill Clinton was in there and we could throw the book at him, by all means, let him have it. Biden, whomever. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, but it's incredibly hard to ignore when people try to play down Trump's racism. What more does he need to do aside from maybe go back to segregation? Victoria, I saw your comment in chat. Thank goodness since I graduated high school, I've been able to lose the concern of trying to have people like me. But thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna offer my closing remarks. I voted yes, they should, but I can certainly understand. I really like the poll, and it shows balance in the room. I think I'm going to stay with my vote of yes, they should, but with a very strong caveat that if it starts looking like stormtroopers, then get their ass out of there in a flash and never allow it to happen again. But I also want to disagree with Daniel, who basically, I think, Daniel, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to diminish your, well, I hope I don't misrepresent, but you basically said there's not a problem, therefore they shouldn't have been sent in. And I disagree with that in accordance with my opening remarks. I think it is a national problem. The smog, as I called it, across our, at least our major metropolitan areas. And yes, Jules, I agree, the smog is thicker in sanctuary cities because they perpetuate diminishment of respect for the law. But still, there's a smog across our major metropolitan areas. Something that should be done to clean them up, to make them cleaner, to make them safer, to deal with the homeless problem. All of the things that, the graffiti and everything else. And I believe we still have a long ways to go in that regard. And if this is a trial balloon that shows significant progress in reducing the smog over Washington, D.C., then I'm all in favor of it. Thank you. And well done to everybody in the room. It was a good discussion. We weren't screaming and yelling and interrupting and all that. Way to go. Good room.
Cheers, Anson.
Anybody have any final thoughts? I am going to post a link to a room that's going to start here in a few minutes, but any other final thoughts from anyone?
Yeah, I'll give a quick final.
Yeah, if I may, after Julius, if I may.
Okay, just a quick final thought. When I see all these rooms broken up into two parts, one part with Trump derangement syndrome, One part who thinks Letitia James, of all people, was right. One part that thinks that Obama and Hillary setting up Trump with Russian spies and all that. I don't have to go into it anymore. I mean, that kind of diminishes the room and diminishes a good discussion. Moose, you're not a dumb guy. I don't mean to say that. So it just diminishes a good discussion on what's going on. And when I hear cheap shots at President Trump, it just gets me.
Well, Devin, you need to know that wasn't what the room was about. And maybe John Kitover can share the stream with you, and I would hope you would reconsider and listen to it, because Anson and Mojo did an excellent, and Moose did an excellent job steel manning people's arguments for the most part and making cogent arguments from the rest of the stage. So I think you'd be surprised.
No, I Anson and Mojo are great, no question about it. But like I said, it gets into a dark space. Look, sometimes I even bring up Trump in a certain way that gets them going. But you're right.
If I may, really quick, I think I can make it quick. The problem isn't just DC, it's happening in all our major cities. First and foremost, we're dealing with technological unemployment. People are losing their jobs, and it's trickling down to the individuals that don't know what the heck to do with themselves and their lives. They don't know how to do it. So, and nobody's really coming up with a solution. And I contend, maybe in the next room, that there is a solution that we can all, that could not only help with the homeless situation, with creating new jobs, but the global situation. So it's a real problem, and I no doubt understand why it's happening in DC first, why they're handling it there, but it's happening everywhere, and it's going to get worse if we don't solve the problem. The real problem of homelessness is growing, and there's a reason why that is, because people don't know what to do anymore. They don't, especially the older people, don't have the finances that they thought they'd have. Just a thought.
All right. Well, hey, this is the second room that we've done. We're going to do these daily, 2 o'clock Pacific time, 5 o'clock Eastern. We will have daily topics. We would invite people from all different political opinions to come and talk, share your thoughts, push back on other ideas. We want to have a conversation. We're going to keep the conversation going in another room. I'm going to go back over in the muff. If those of you like being in the muff, you're welcome to join. If you're not a fan of being in the muff, you don't have to join. The muff is a voluntary thing. If you're in the muff involuntarily, we call that rape. So thank you. We will go ahead and see you guys later in the muff.
Thanks for your Jeff. Good working with you guys.
Again, good job, Derek.
Kristen, if you want to mod me, and maybe now you could back channel me the new room, I will post it and then share
at
this
the
one
top.
out. Right. No, it's not. The house is.
Serenity.
Dippity.
I like that.
Serendipity now. Oh, deep in the muff. Darren's deep in the muff. Let's see. Okay. All right. This will be a more casual room for those that like more casual conversation. The rules do apply. If you don't know the rules for being in the muff, just click on the link above. The little carrot that takes you to the rules. Maybe I'll read them to you. I've gotten feedback that you guys like when I read the rules, so I'll go ahead and read the rules.
The rules are, number 1, no threats of violence. Number 2, no doxing. Number 3, stay on topic. Number 4, keep your shares brief. Number 5, do not interrupt speakers, especially mods. Number 6, mods may interject when appropriate. Number 7, the N and K words are forbidden on stage and in chat. Number 8, don't spam the chat. Number 9, do not bring drama here from other rooms. And number 10, English only, please. Those are the rules in the muff. All right. Everyone can feel free to talk amongst yourself. We don't really have a topic yet. This is the Situation Room. Hopefully we'll get special guests that know more about the Situation Room than we've been privy to. It would be nice to have some expertise here in the muff as we talk about the Situation Room. I'm going to mod up Nye here. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and mute up. You guys talk.
Well, if I could just say that last one was very informative, very good discussion. Anson is very insightful. It's always wonderful to sit at the feet of our elders and listen and learn and absorb information.
I so agree with you.
Hello?
Okay. Is anybody
What the fuck is this?
This was one of the best ideas that you guys came up with of doing a room.
This sing-along shit.
5 days a week, the same bat time, same bat channel, get everyone together of all different political persuasions and just have an honest conversation where the chat is open and people are free to communicate. I think that's the way this app was designed. So thanks for participating. It was a glorious time. Anonymous, go ahead and jump in.
Hey, this is Anonymous, and I'm happy to be here in the Situation Room in the muff. And, you know, I keep trying to create my own in the muff situations, but I forget that the muff, apparently, to the muff owners of this app, it's a profane word. You can't say the muff. You know, who would have known? But I feel like there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. And everybody needs to get a little bit of sun in this room. Some vitamin D, some exercise, some hydration, some delicious Summerfest food. You know, crime is rampant. Wait, please, Jane, don't unmute. I'm not finished with my thoughts. I understand, but I'm not finished with my thoughts.
No back and forth.
Well, Jane, go ahead. You know what? You got this, Jane.
I wanted to ask you if it was okay. I want to ask you, John. Are you friends with Zach Ruda?
Yeah, I'm friends with Zach Ruda.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, I hear him use profanity, but, you know, what's your complaint? Yeah. What's your complaint about Zach Ruda? Oh, wait, is that a dox? I'm sorry. Situation Room. We need a clarification on the rules.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah, drama.
Hold on. Rule number 9. We don't bring in drama from other rooms. I don't know what Zach Ruda has done this time, but I can tell you, he's an acquired taste, a taste I've never acquired. So it is what it is. Let's just move on.
Okay, I just was going to ask that, so I'm in sync with you, Mojo. Thank you for letting me know, John, where you stand. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, Jane. So, you know, this is my new account. It's called Anonymous Recording because I feel like why pay a monthly subscription fee to Clown House when I can just create a new profile called Anonymous Recording and still record all these beautiful rooms into this account and other accounts. I don't know. I was just trying to come up with some type of new creative. And I feel like creativity is the essence or the center or the source of wisdom. So I think, you know, Mojo's a very creative person, and I think, you know, his profile, the rooms, the content, the topical, you know, Clown House really is like the butterfly effect in a way. But this is Anonymous. I am complete.
Well, now it's not anonymous if you just told us who you were.
Well, see, I had this account in anonymous, but I figure, like, I feel like I've gotten. Truthfully, it's all because of Mojo, because I at least can come here and speak. A lot of other rooms I could never come in and speak, plus, I don't even want to speak on those rooms. So, a lot of my work here is only because of Mojo's super positive vibrations.
I will say, it was Clubhouse that twisted my arm on this. As you know, I used to find it annoying when I would open a room and there was the option of replay or no replay. And the consensus amongst the people that would come to these rooms was that the preference was no replay. And if we're going to turn the replays off, somebody coming in and streaming it was a bad idea. But that's all in the past. The app creators decided to, for a low cost of $5 a month, you can go in anonymous mode, and then you take the control out of the creator of the room's hands, and you allow them to do whatever they want with the content. And so because of that, it changed my mind completely. Not to mention, once it did change my mind, because sometimes you just have to accept the world the way it is. And once I accepted that, I started looking at this content that I now have to accept and embrace. And I looked at it and I thought, you know what? The streaming of Amir's room, where there's a collection of terrorist sympathizers, some of them, perhaps terrorists themselves, is now being streamed, and you could take those links and you could share that with the FBI and the CIA and any other agency. I think the service that's getting provided here, it was something that I overlooked. I thought my own personal preference and, people's preference to have a room that's not recorded was my virtue, that was my superiority complex. But now I'm embracing this idea that if you're going to say these things, they can get recorded, they can get streamed, and they can find their hands in the authorities. So if you're a terrorist piece of shit, you should be careful on this app. And if you're not, John Kitover's here to expose you.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I don't know if that violates any of the room rules, because, I am putting myself at risk that, some Islamic jihadist terrorist who hates me for recording what they're saying on this app could become a problem for me. But, the bigger problem is really 37 trillion in funded liabilities and 100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. I think that poses a bigger threat to my personal livelihood than some fat loser in California or Detroit, who runs their little takfir room, So I'm just saying, in the Situation Room, my peace, my serenity, my breath, my force of life is here with you all right now.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks. The only thing I would recommend is, just for the people who are unfamiliar with Dear John, you're interrupted.
Oh, hi, Scarlett.
Oh, I did not hear you, Dismal. I will let Dismal proceed.
I can't hear you either, Dismal. You gotta fix your mic.
Maybe my bad then.
Yeah, in this case, yes.
Okay, that was anticlimactic.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would just say, you are facing potential lawsuits, sir. I don't think that you understand that, but that is something that could.
You mean
actually,
anonymous? Anonymous?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Kitty on the stage.
What law do you think is being broken to take content that Clubhouse records, that we freely engage in this conversation if we didn't want to have the conversation?
It's literally you don't read the terms and conditions, obviously.
No, I have read the terms and conditions, and I'm wondering what you think about terms and conditions that violates the law.
So if you aren't in a room that has replays, like mentioned, you're already violating the terms and conditions.
depends on what state you're in. There are in many states.
In Illinois,
Well, hold on.
which is where he's running for office.
Dismal, hold on. Let me just get my thoughts out. I'll refer to you to rule number 5 of the House. If you don't know the rules, I can read them to you when I'm finished.
I don't know, and I'm not. You can see I have a pink ticket. I haven't joined your House, so I haven't read your rules.
We welcome pink tickets. You're in the muff. Pink is always welcome in the muff. I just want to make this point, though. If you live in a state where you have the permission to record
Single party.
Yeah, you can have single party permission. So there are some states where you do have to have permission of both people involved. That being said, I would say this is one of those things of I'd be curious to see how it would play out, even in a state where you need both parties' consent. Because I would argue that if you're participating in a conversation on a social audio app willfully, when there's a button that says leave quietly and people are telling you, hey, this is being streamed onto YouTube, if you continue to be in that room, I think you're going to have a really hard time when it comes to deposition that you've been harmed in some way.
It's also partially a public space also, so that's the other end of it.
Look, I wish the rules were the way they used to be. I wish I had more control. As libertarian as I am, when it comes to my own space, I want to have more control. If this were my living room, I would have rules about communication. If somebody were to just come in and say off-the-wall shit, I'd probably remove them from my home. I like to have that kind of control of a conversation. I'm just saying that Clubhouse made the change that shifted the balance of power, and it shifted my perspective on it. It also, before anyone that thinks that what John is doing is a bad thing, I would ask you, is there a value in him recording rooms with people that are supporting Islamic terrorist groups and broadcasting this information and saving this information in the cloud and sharing it with law enforcement agencies? I mean, I think this is a public service, and again, you guys got to understand, there's not a single human being on this app that was trolled harder than I was by John. And so, like, me coming to this position and welcoming him into this room, it's because a lot has changed. The app has changed, and then that forced me to reconsider my position. And when I looked at it from a broader scope, I started to see some value in it.
That's a refreshing thing to hear. If I might jump in.
I'll go after Jane.
Yeah, please do, Jane.
Sure thing, Scarlett. Thanks. Yeah, I also, I don't know if I should out myself in this public way, but I'm something of a fan of John Kitover, despite our ideological differences. In fact, if you check his PTR, I am featured as someone. He is unauthorized recording just today. And guess what? I didn't give a fuck. I said exactly what I wanted to say because, you know, I guess we're on an app that's being recorded. I think that anyone who I mean, I want to be more friendly than this, but if you didn't already know people could fucking record shit, that's why I just had a reawakening, Mojo.
I'm gonna go completely against you,
right?
Honestly.
I think it's Scarlett's turn.
And it won't take me long. I just think the situation is neatly solved by updating the title to put rec on it, that people know that they might be recorded in here, even though they're always recorded, and their words may be used against them. Like, I agree with Jane. This is season 1, season 2 stuff. People have been illegally recording us since the inception of the app. To act virtuous and offended now seems like the lady doth protest too much. But go ahead, Dismal.
Yeah, I will be the lady who doth protest too much. Maybe I'm actually the only lady still left here on this app.
You can make that assumption.
Pardon me, madam. I take great umbrage with that.
Well, it's not every day that I get.
Besides that statement, do you need a Kleenex? Are we good?
No, I don't, and I don't need any tissue. Thank you for your tissue recommendations.
Well, Dismal, I can speak to you directly here if I can ask you a question. I mean, when you were in the White House briefing room.
And ask me a question. You're using a term that obviously isn't ask. You can ask a question, but you can't ask a question.
Okay, sorry.
Otherwise,
Let me.
Make you ladylike.
Sorry,
Do you
Dismal.
correct everyone who makes this mispronunciation, or just...
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I do.
Really?
I taught English second language. Yeah, I do.
Dismal, can I ask you one? I'm sorry. Ask you another. Oh, did she leave? Sorry, I didn't mean to scare off the most beautiful muff on stage next to you, Monica. Oh.
Thank God, I was about to have to slip her an Adderall.
If I knew that mispronouncing ask is ask, man.
I really didn't think
I
she
learn
was
every
gonna
day
fall
on
for that.
Clubhouse.
I really didn't think she was gonna fall for that.
But did you really have a question? Are you?
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask her. It's not every day that I get roasted by someone who used to brief the president in the where was she supposedly briefing the president? In the Situation Room,
In
right?
the Situation Room.
Yeah, so that maybe she's got great maybe she's a great art critic, and so I just wanted to get more of her critique. That was all I was gonna ask.
Well, just remember, for the stream, she virtue signaled that she was likely the only lady left on the app. So I just met passive aggressive bullshit.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, hey, Dismal.
Passive aggressive bullshit.
Dismal,
wonderful. Dismal.
One mic on Dismal. One mic on Dismal. One mic on Dismal.
Well said.
Well, thank you, Dismal. I'll accept your silence.
Sorry, there wasn't actually I didn't hear a question, so here.
Oh, yeah. Can you ask her the question, Anonymous?
Say it right, John.
No? Okay.
No, I can ask her a question.
Oh, you can ask me a question. Great.
Oh, hey, Scott. Ken Jones is here. Hey, Scott. Sorry.
Wow.
Don't mean to get excited, but Dismal, here's my question for you. I think
Is that the congressman? Is that the congressman elect?
Correct. This is Congressman candidate John Kitover running in the 16th District of Illinois. Go to johnforcongress.com.
No, congressman.
Yeah, Dismal, you threatened me just in the past 10 minutes claiming that people are suing me or that you are organizing a lawsuit. Like, what is the legal strategy behind suing me and getting my assets?
Sorry, I wouldn't actually dare to do that because I don't actually care.
Got it. Okay, you just like to bring it up. Never mind. Dismal.
I'm bringing it up as only something that a potentiality that you should be considering.
Oh, so you want to be a campaign advisor. I understand, but I think you might have a dismal outlook. Why do you call your name here Dismal Outlook, but yet your handle is Sunscape? Explain that contradiction.
I was Sunny Outlook before.
So, can I ask you a question about words? Do you think they're like a...
Ask me a question.
Scott, they're having
sorry.
problems.
Thanks for correcting me. I meant to ask you a question. Do you think words are like a script? Because earlier we read the Tao Te Ching here in the Muff, and you can go in our replays and our profiles, look at Mojo X, scroll down, and then you'll see book reading, Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. And I would really encourage everybody to listen to that because that's what's called reading a book as opposed to having never-ending heated conversations here on a social audio hypnosis app. I am complete. This is Anonymous.
Oh, no, literally read that book and read different interpretations because, of course, for something that was written in a different language, there are different interpretations, right? So that's something that in my club, I actually read, and we read different interpretations of that book.
Dismal, would you like to share a link to your house so that people interested in book reading?
No,
you
because
have
I'm no longer active there, and I don't want to promote something I'm not going to. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Monica, is everyone calling you Scarlett now, or still Monica, or what is your?
I'm running a social experiment because I heard that using first names formally used on the app is doxing. So this is my second time running the experiment with mixed results. I'm observing that people do have a very difficult time once they know someone's name and know their person calling them another name. But I do answer to both.
I mean, to be fair, some of us use this with our phone in our pocket because we're still working, and when you hear someone talk, you just respond to what you know them as.
I got a quick question for
I don't-
Dismal.
Don't mind the people that I like.
Dismal, can you maybe tell us like your top 3 moments in the White House? This is Anonymous speaking to Dismal. Dismal, can you maybe tell us your top 3 moments in the White House?
Sorry, I really don't wish to.
Okay.
That's okay.
Of course.
I mean, the vast majority would be in the basically EOB area, not the Situation Room or the Oval.
Oh, that's fair. I don't disapprove of your discretion. So the room with Anson, I thought went very well. And at the end, when people came in at the end and cast judgments on the whole hour, I hope I was graceful in my refuting their assumptions. Because
I wasn't there, Scarlett. Can you give like a TLDR, just a quick?
Well, I believe Anonymous might be able to hook us up with the recording, but Anson led this discussion, and Moose and Mojo were the co-hosts of the room. We started with base principles. Did we agree that crime in large cities and DC was something that needed attention? The majority of the room agreed, although we had some late arrivals that didn't hear that open premise and said later that no, it wasn't needed. That crime had been going down and was trending down, and it's not that big of a deal. And I would like the people who were there to help me because
let me just jump in real quick. And thank you, Scarlett 2Ts. Appreciate you. The house that she's referring to is the Rational Discussion Group.
Scarlett, okay.
It's a house in which every day we meet at 2 o'clock Pacific time, 5 o'clock Eastern. We run for about an hour and a half. We like to get there early. We like to get there 10 minutes early. We open the room at 1:50, and we keep the room. We really get it started at around 2. We welcome diverse opinions. We feel like this is an alternative to other types of rooms that you may or may not be familiar with. We have no requirement to download Facebook and chat through Messenger. What we do is we just, no frills, we just utilize the tools that Clubhouse has given us, and we have a mature conversation led by Anson Burlingame.
Yeah, I'm not. I was with you in saying I like this protest house, but are you really going to do that, Mojo? Every day?
Well, consistency is important. It is. You're right.
Consistency is important, and so and I figure that if some people are disciplined enough to get there at 155, if we get there at 150, we'll just be even more consistent. And so we're and look, we welcome anyone. This is not like turf wars here on Clubhouse. If people want to leave our space and go into that space, that's totally cool. We have full respect for all of the people on this entire app, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So we welcome everybody. You can join the house. It's the fastest growing house on all of Clubhouse. We've only done 2 rooms. We did one on Friday. We did one today, and there's over 600 members of the house. At this rate, if we grow at 300 people per week, we will overtake similar programmed rooms in no time. So it is the fastest growing thing. If you want to be on something that's on an uptick, please join the Rational Discussion Group. Thank you.
And the link is in the chat for anyone. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The link is in the chat. We try not to take down the polls too early. We only have 10 votes in this poll, and we do want to know the lady quotient of Clubhouse to see if we need to boost those numbers up or the number of ladies.
Jane, can I ask you a question, Jane?
I'm directing this. No. I'm directing this to all the mods, actually. Are you aware that Scott Jones? I don't want to out you, Scott, but I do want to hear your point of view. I don't think Scott likes Anson so much. And let's talk about that.
Well, I'm glad that we're welcoming Scott into this room. Scott and I have a long history on this app, and we've had many laughs. And Scott and I consider Scott a friend. So I'd love to hear his thoughts of Anson, who I think he reminds me of my grandfather. I like Anson quite a bit, but Scott, go ahead and give us your critique of Anson if you'd like, but can you please do it in the Donald Trump voice? We really appreciate that here.
I think Anson tries to do a Donald Trump. Okay, I think it's not very good. Okay, Anson, I think that's not great. Okay, I mean, look, I like my war heroes to be able to do a Donald Trump that's better. Okay, I like my veterans not bad at impressions. Okay, all right, kind of.
I will say that is a good impression of him while drinking Diet Coke.
Hold on. I got Jane. I got a question for you and Scott, because I didn't listen to Gary Baumgart's show. Yes, this is being recorded. I'm live streaming myself. So my question is, what were the hot takes? What were the positions? And then what's the contrarian position?
I'll be back. I gotta go.
Of Washington D.C. National Guard takeover, federal FBI takeover. Like, what were the opinions in Gary's room?
You were there when I spoke, and then I left.
No, I left. I don't want to listen to it. I came in here to have a conversation and other rooms.
Okay. I went to the pool, so I didn't know. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
One take I objected to. You could rewind, John.
Okay, what is it? What is it, Jane?
In the very beginning, when the guy named Brian Bashara, he loves it. He said the more the merrier, I think. As far as, so he was a yes. That's one thing. I think that's a hot take, but, otherwise, I said I'm not in favor of it. No shock. And then I left, so I don't have any more.
So in our room, we were split a third. You had a third that were in support, a third that were not in support, and a third that just said we don't know. And so it was a very balanced room, which made for a good conversation.
These young soldiers who are coming out of boot camp or in the reserves, they're not going on international deployments to Afghanistan, Iraq, etc. So putting them in, hot spots in U.S. cities to bring gun violence down, I mean, welcome to the battle.
I thought it was a pattern. I don't want the scope of your question, hot takes, but I was noticing a similar ethos underlying. the share, right, the share, and it sounded a lot like Dominic, another frequenter of the critical thinking forum. He said he found the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing fun, period. You know, he was kind of like enjoying the ha-ha.
I did hear him say that. We had to take him to task for that use of that.
I'm glad you did, David. Oh my God, come on.
Yeah.
I'm glad that creeped you out.
Everybody.
I mean, have you been to Jerusalem? Do you know what it's like to see young people with M16A4s strapped to their shoulders, walking all around, providing security for free to the people of that beautiful town? You know, why isn't that happening in Chicago? Why doesn't that happen? I've never seen that on Michigan Ave. You ever been to Manhattan? You ever seen people walking around with M16A4s? No, you don't see that. You know, I wonder why.
I have a question for a previous topic when everyone's ready.
Hi, Bima. Welcome to the Muff Podcast, Mojo Positive Vibration.
No.
Taking care of your grandmother, huh? Like a beautiful little granddaughter.
Maybe behind slowness and Roger's benevolence about the recording, and I'm trying to roll it around in my mind. And I understand we have anonymous, we have recordings, been using our voice for a long time. I was a little surprised. I enjoyed the book reading and what we did today, and coming together as a group, and just the vibe of the book and that feeling. And then at the end, Roger mentioned, you know, we were live on YouTube reading that. And isn't it different? I mean, when Clubhouse... Thank you. When Clubhouse assimilates our words, our voices, I don't think my name is associated with that, right? It's used for training, randomness, or however it's used. But my voice is pretty recognizable, and I wasn't aware that I should be. I guess I'm just so naive by now. I forget I'm being recorded all the time. It hit me just differently that something as innocent as our book reading was also streamed on YouTube. And I think my voice is used in a different way that way. Not parsed out in different parts or used for training or used in a way that it's unrecognizable, but you know, used without my consent in a way that I don't think is necessary. So can someone explain to me how it's just a saying that we're being recorded by Clubhouse and also now being streamed, that is identical?
Yes, because if you look down at the bottom of your stage, you have a little icon with an arrow that points up to it. And when you click on that icon, you will notice that in the list there is a share via X, Facebook, messages, and other options there. By virtue of agreeing to Clubhouse's terms and conditions of service, you are agreeing to allow your content to be shared.
Shared and streamed as...
Yes, there are a lot of people that stream their rooms from Clubhouse to X. And vice versa.
And they stream it on YouTube. I mean, John is not the first. Folks streaming these rooms on YouTube has been